Hi, my name is John Harris and I'm a photographer. I became a photographer kind of by accident. My last job was with Parks Australia, which sounds really adventurous, but really it was quite boring sitting in an office in Canberra. But part of my job there was to sift through their massive collection of images, over 50,000. So in looking through that collection of images, a lot of pro photography work in there, I kind of got to know what really made a fantastic image. And it was looking at stuff that I've loved since I was a child. Nature, animals, beautiful places in Australia, things like that. So eventually I started playing with the work camera. It was just a basic SLR camera. That led to me getting my own camera because I started to like what was going on. And I guess at the same time, my dad's always been a bit of an influence. He was a fairly keen hobbyist photographer, always had the camera everywhere. So after a while, basically started doing a lot of work for parks, and by the time I left there, they'd sent me up to Kakadu National Park for a week, Woodaree National Park down Jervis Bay for 2 weeks, all to take photos, and now my work's all over their new website, so I'm pretty proud of that. My landscape work is mainly created through getting up very early and standing in front of interesting stuff. Seriously though, I like to get out for epic sunsets and sunrises. But interesting, moody, dramatic light is also really cool. I've got a lot of that in Iceland and Scandinavia when I was there about 18 months ago. When I'm out shooting, I generally like to take several exposures of a single scene and blend them together in Photoshop afterwards. So I do get asked a lot, do you Photoshop your work? And the short answer is yes. But think of it like the old film photographers in the darkroom. They'd go out, they'd shoot their film, they'd go into the darkroom with their negatives and they'd process the images. And I do exactly the same thing, but just on a computer in Lightroom. So I shoot in RAW format, bring it in, do work in Lightroom and Photoshop. But basically just enhancing and tweaking to basically replicate what I saw at the time when I was there. Never anything major alterations or anything like that. My wedding photography definitely has a particular style. There's a lot of different styles of wedding photography out there. I tend to go with more sort of candid photojournalistic style of photography. I just find it creates more natural and fun images than the really formal posed style of images. Although of course I'll do those on request as well. Just like my landscape photography, I like to keep my colours nice and bright and vibrant. Mainly replicating what I saw on the day, no fancy filters or anything like that. And I'll also create black and white images if the mood of the image requires it. I couldn't really say if I had any particular person that was an influence on my work. I'm pretty happy just looking at anybody out there who creates an image which makes me look at it, want to keep looking at it, absorbing it and learning from it. And in today's age, there's so many people out there with cameras, even phone photography, that are doing amazing things. And with social media, it's so easy to get overwhelmed, but there's never a shortage of people out there to gather influence from. My wedding photography is aimed at clients who want beautiful photography in a gorgeous location. They want someone who's an unobtrusive and easygoing photographer, who will make the most of the venue and any buildings and architecture that are there as well. So my background in landscape and architecture photography allows me to make full use of those things at your wedding location, and you'll walk away with stunning imagery. What I love most about my work, which is now my full-time job, is getting out into amazing places and seeing beautiful things and meeting incredible people. It also makes me really happy to see the way people react when they see my work. Just watching the wonder in their eyes and the smiles on their faces. Ultimately, I'd like to make a living from landscape and nature photography, travelling around the world, going to beautiful places and shooting amazing things all the time. Realistically, to make this happen, I'm going to start holding workshops in various locations around the globe, and hopefully introducing people to the same sort of feeling I get and the passion that I have for photography. My name is John Harris and I'm a RAW artist.